Most parents don't realize this, but the toy industry didn't grow because children needed toys. It grew because adults needed reassurance that they were doing enough, buying enough, providing enough, and somewhere along the way, we started confusing stimulation with development and entertainment with growth. And that is why so many homes are filled with colorful plastic objects while so many children are quietly craving something far more powerful, something no toy shelf can provide, because the one thing kids need more than toys is not something you can buy, wrap, or assemble. It's something you give without even realizing it, and once you understand this, the way you parent, the way you play, and the way you measure your child's development will never be the same again. When a child opens a new toy, the excitement is immediate but brief. Their brain lights up, dopamine spikes, and within minutes the novelty fades, and parents often misinterpret that fading interest as boredom or fussiness, so they introduce another toy, and then another, creating a cycle where stimulation replaces engagement, and what looks like enrichment slowly becomes dependency. Because the brain starts learning that interest comes from external input rather than internal curiosity, and this is where so many well-meaning parents accidentally step in the wrong direction, not because they don't care, but because they care deeply and want to do the best they can with the information they've been given. What children actually need more than toys is responsive presence, the kind of presence that tells their nervous system without words that they are seen, safe and supported, because before a child learns how to stack blocks, recognize colors, or press buttons that light up and sing songs, their brain is learning something far more foundational. It's learning whether the world responds to them, whether their signals matter, and whether connection is reliable. And no toy, no matter how educational it claims to be, can replace that. When a child reaches for you and you respond, when they babble and you pause to listen, when they struggle and you resist the urge to immediately fix it, their brain is wiring pathways for trust, persistence, and self-regulation, and these pathways become the foundation for learning later in life. Because a brain that feels safe is a brain that explores, and a brain that explores is a brain that learns deeply, not quickly, not superficially, but meaningfully. Parents often worry they're not doing enough if their child isn't constantly occupied, but boredom is not the enemy of development. Boredom is the doorway to creativity, and when children are given space instead of stimulation, they begin to create their own challenges, their own stories, their own solutions. And that internal process strengthens executive function far more than any toy that tells them exactly what to do. Think about the moments when your child plays with the box instead of the toy, when they line up spoons instead of pushing buttons, when they stare at your face instead of the screen in front of them. Those moments aren't wasted. They are signs that your child's brain is doing exactly what it is supposed to do, experimenting, observing, predicting, and learning through interaction, not consumption. The problem with relying too heavily on toys is not that toys are bad, it's that toys often take control away from the child, and development thrives on agency, the sense that I did this, I figured this out, I made something happen. And when toys perform instead of the child, when lights flash and sounds play without effort, the brain receives stimulation without engagement, and over time, this can dull attention, reduce frustration tolerance, and make it harder for children to stay with tasks that don't immediately reward them. What kids need more than toys is emotional attunement, the ability of a caregiver to notice, interpret, and respond to their emotional cues accurately, because emotional intelligence doesn't start with naming feelings, it starts with having feelings mirrored back in a regulated way. When a child is upset and a parent remains calm, the child's nervous system borrows that calm, and this repeated borrowing eventually becomes self-regulation, something no toy can teach and no screen can simulate. Many parents feel pressure to constantly entertain their children, but children don't need entertainers, they need anchors, adults who provide stability while allowing exploration, guidance without control, presence without pressure, and when a child feels anchored, they venture further, try harder, and recover faster from setbacks, because they trust that support is available if they need it. This is why a simple shared activity like folding laundry together, cooking side by side, or walking and talking often does more for a child's development than a room full of toys. Because these moments teach rhythm, cooperation, language, patience, and connection all at once, and they teach children that learning is woven into life, not separated into playtime and real life. Children need more than toys. They need predictable routines, not rigid schedules, but rhythms that help their brain anticipate what comes next. Because predictability creates safety, and safety frees up mental energy for growth. When children know what to expect, they don't waste energy scanning for danger or uncertainty. They invest that energy in learning, exploring, and connecting. Parents sometimes underestimate how powerful consistency is, saying goodnight the same way, responding to distress in familiar patterns, maintaining simple rituals. These are not small things. They are the framework within which a child's brain organizes experience, and without that framework, even the best toys can't compensate. Another thing kids need more than toys is permission to struggle, and this is one of the hardest things for loving parents to give, because watching your child struggle triggers your own discomfort, but struggle is where problem solving is born. When a child tries, fails, adjusts, and tries again, their brain strengthens resilient circuits that will serve them for life. And when parents step into quickly, they unintentionally send the message that discomfort is dangerous and must be avoided rather than navigated. Toys often promise ease and efficiency, quick learning, fast results, instant engagement, but development is slow, uneven, and deeply personal, and children need adults who are comfortable with that slowness, who don't rush milestones, who don't compare constantly, who understand that growth is not a straight line, and that confidence grows from being accepted where you are, not pushed toward where you should be. Kids need more than toys. They need language that respects their experience, not baby talk that simplifies the world beyond recognition, but real words, real explanations, spoken with warmth and patience, because children understand far more than they can express, and when they are spoken to as thinking beings, their cognitive and emotional development accelerates naturally. One of the greatest misconceptions in modern parenting is that learning happens when adults teach and children absorb, but learning actually happens when children participate, when they ask questions, when they experiment, when they interact with responsive adults who guide rather than direct, and toys often bypass that relational loop entirely. What children need more than toys is trust that their pace is acceptable, trust that their interests matter, trust that their feelings are valid. And when children feel trusted, they trust themselves, and that self-trust becomes the foundation for independence, creativity, and confidence later in life. It is easy to feel like you're falling short if your child's play area doesn't look like a catalog, but the truth is that children raised in environments rich with connection, conversation, and emotional safety consistently outperform those raised in environments rich with objects but poor in interaction, not because they had more, but because they were more engaged. Children also need more than toys. They need adults who model emotional regulation, curiosity, and kindness, because children learn far more from who we are than from what we give them. And when parents manage stress openly, admit mistakes, and show empathy, children absorb those patterns and carry them forward. There's a quiet power in simply being with your child without an agenda, no goal to teach, no outcome to achieve, just shared presence. And these moments, though they don't look productive, are deeply nourishing to a child's nervous system because they communicate unconditional acceptance, something that fuels healthy development more than any product ever could. Parents often worry about falling behind, about missing critical windows, about not providing enough, but development is not a race, and children don't need everything. They need enough of the right things, enough love, enough stability, enough challenge, enough rest, and enough space to become themselves. The irony is that the more parents chase enrichment through objects, the more disconnected they can feel from the process of parenting, while the parents who slow down, simplify, and engage directly often find that parenting becomes more intuitive, less overwhelming, and more fulfilling because they're responding to their child, not a market. Kids need more than toys. They need to be known, truly known, their temperament, their sensitivities, their rhythms. And when parents take the time to understand who their child is, rather than who they think they should be, they create an environment where that child can thrive naturally. This doesn't mean toys have no place. Toys can be tools, props, and starting points, but they are supports, not substitutes, and the moment toys replace interaction rather than enhance it, they lose their developmental value. What children remember long after toys are forgotten are moments of connection, feeling heard, feeling understood, feeling supported through challenges. And those memories shape how they see relationships, how they handle stress, and how they approach learning throughout their lives. If you take nothing else from this, remember that your presence is not secondary to your parenting, it is your parenting, and every time you choose connection over consumption, patience over performance, and understanding over comparison, you are giving your child something far more valuable than any toy could ever provide. And one day, when the toy bins are empty, the gadgets outdated, and the clutter gone, what will remain is the nervous system you helped shape, the confidence you quietly built, and the trust that grew from knowing someone was always there, not to entertain, not to impress, but to truly be with them, and that, more than anything else in the world, is what kids need most.